Well, the next time there's going to be a financial crisis, which I think there is already a financial crisis brewing right now, it's amazing that the Dow is over 18,000 points, but I already figured that's just web bots trading with each other. And last time we had the financial crisis, they criticized George Bush, then Obama came in and did the same damn thing, only more extreme. But honestly, most of the financial institutions and people that got bailed out, they paid back the money, but if it didn't happen, there would have been a bail-in, and you know what that would have meant? A lot of the biggest too bigs to fail would have failed. So, but if we were all based upon gold and silver and real assets, they couldn't play this kind of game. They couldn't just come up with another $350 billion or whatever they need to do to bail people out, like the what was it, the Troubled Asset Relief Program? I think it was in total 700 billion, if I remember that right. They used half of it. Then it was part of the Economic Stabilization Act. Then Obama did something else after that. He didn't use the other half of the TARP, Troubled Asset Relief Program, but he did something else, and there was more than the $350 billion that was expended to bail people out after that. Like Warren Buffett would have got chopped down significantly and all that. Well, these guys are all in on the inside loop, just like Obama is. But I think that what's coming up here in the future, though. Next time, there's not going to be a bailout. There's going to be a bail-in, like we had with Cyprus a couple of years ago. You remember that when he? I remember, I was privy to that deal with Cyprus. There was a lot of Russian oligarchs that have. See, Cyprus is a tax haven for Europe. I forget what the hell it is. There's no tax on capital gains, I think there is, and there's a much lower tax on ordinary income. So a lot of Russian oligarchs have their companies registered in Cyprus. I think Putin, he has like a trading company in Switzerland, oil trading company in Switzerland, and the company itself, though, even though it operates in Switzerland, it's registered in Cyprus. So, you don't have to pay taxes on gain and sale of gains from the sale of capital assets like oil trading or whatever. Now, what's interesting that's coming up, I can tell you, everybody's got their blinders on. I think, I just saw actually a video last night or whatever it was about some of the voting machines. Whoa, man. I think it's pretty damn possible the Hildebeest might get back in. I don't know if she gets in, stays in the government basically. Um, but one thing that's actually way bigger than all the people that are on the top is they're trying to prop up all these markets across the world with more quantitative easing or negative interest rates, like the Japanese are hoarding cash right now. It's because Japan, the central bank of Japan, has actually printed a lot of 10,000 yen notes because people are hoarding cash because there's negative interest rates in the bank. I also think they probably are hoarding silver. I don't have statistics on it, but Japanese are savers. They probably are hoarding silver also. Um, even though silver has not been doing well in the U.S. currency, you've seen what happened to the Russian ruble over the last couple of years with the decline in oil prices from over $100 on a WTI to, well, right now I think it's a little above 40, but it was down to like 30, right? They got crushed on the ruble. So if you actually held silver in Russia, you would have done fine over the last couple of years, and you would have preserved a lot of your wealth. It may be the USA's turn. Actually, silver has been catching up to gold on the gold ratio pretty recently. I know it was at 80 to 1. Now it's lower than that. Um, so silver probably will outperform gold in the next couple of years. But the one thing I'm looking at is the next time there's going to be a bailout, it's going to be bail in. They're just we kids can't. The USA is not going to be able to hold up the too bigs to fail this next time around. I mean, I know we've been hearing this little cliche for forever, and I know the markets are all up. The Dow is up over 18,000 again, but I think it's all artificial, and I've been discussing that for quite a while about the retail sales are way down. I know that the one bright spot on retail sales is from internet. The internet, actually, there's a lot more activity going on through Amazon's growing, eBay is growing, internet sales are growing, but overall, actually, retail sales are down. And actually, a lot of the stores are way down. The brick and mortar stores are way down. The There's been a lot less activity across railways in this country and laying off of conductors. That's another indication that there's a lot less goods being transported back and forth. There's a lot less demand for goods. Of course, the Baltic Dry Index already hit all-time low. It kept breaking records on all-time low, which is the shipment of goods and commodities across the seaways from one country to another, which indicates the economy is very bad. Actually, there's bets going on now from Wall Street that about China that China's actually going to see an implosion within, they're 1 to 3 years. Major cash crunch. They're burning through their reserves left and right. Um, I don't know, maybe that's true or not. But I always look at it like this: when there's economic programs, the way to solve it is with war. It happens. It happened in the old West. I mean, between the ranchers and I don't know the sheep herders or whatever the hell it is. It's always war. Actually, is all based upon money. Um, now, when I looked at this thing with the now I know like looking at this election stuff, I got to keep in mind. Even though I think Trump is definitely far more popular than Hillary Clinton, I was looking at some of the stuff that was online about. I'm gonna actually post a link in the comments. You could look at the video about the voting machine frauds. I know Ted Cruz was voting. Voting machines might have been rigged in Wisconsin. I know he's a little more popular in the Midwest and stuff, and Wyoming and all that. Not too many people actually in Colorado, and then New York. Which Trump trounced him. But I think if it comes down to Trump versus Hillary, I don't know. Maybe there might be a good chance Hillary's going to win. Not honestly, but I just remember a couple factoids about, and that's why I'm pointing at this H over here with the arrow and the Gonzo Inn, because basically the White House is going to be like the Gonzo Inn, with Hillary in it and Uma Aberdeen and Bill Clinton over there saying, "I want to watch." God, man, what a freaking zoo, man! The whole place is crazy, man. That's all it is. I mean, I don't see how anything's going to keep holding up. I mean, you got to have some principles on something. But as far as when I looked at, there's two people that predicted that Hillary. I think it was the CEO of Google. I forgot the guy's name. A couple years ago, he said that Hillary would be the next president, and also Warren Buffett said Hillary would be the next president. They sure as shit don't want Trump, and if they got ways to cheat with their voting machines, oh well, man. I hope this isn't the case, but maybe Trump will see what the hell's going on with his voting machines, but who knows? Anyway, Gonzo Win. That's going to be the new name for the freaking White House if Hillary gets in that damn place, along with Abbott. But, I look at it like this. Nobody's going to have a free ride in this country. The way things are going, I'm looking at, actually, I could say, wait a minute, I invested in a little more silver today. I bought another silver AR lower, 80%, and I milled out most of it today. Just got it in the mail. Hey, I figure that's silver. It's aluminum. It's 775 mil spec forged lower, right? So I'm milling that thing out. It's silver colored anyway. But I look at it like this. Silver's not your only thing. It probably pays to have a good rifle because if you got to harvest some game out there, if you got your food, you can put your food on a table, you harvest some game, start a fire, and you cook the damn thing like back in the old school, and you siphon out some gas from some limousines and put it in your bike. That's your horse for today. And you'll keep rolling. You'll just keep rolling, man. That's the way it is. I got nothing against freaking women to be in the White House, but I do have plenty of freaking problems with Hillary being in the White House. I don't think that's a woman, man. I think that's the Hildebeest. Amazing how people are still. I'm just surprised that anybody supports her, but most of them are the over 45 generation, the deadbeats from the 60s. There were 60 people that were really good, and there's a lot of deadbeats back then too. But when looking at where things are going today, I'd say in the future we're not going to have a bailout for the freaking guys. We're going to have a bail-in. So I'll tell you one thing: if that's bad news for you, just take a swig. I'll tell you. Well, if you got silver, you might be all right. And during hard times, it's kind of interesting. I always talk about silver being an investment that's very good, right? Okay, it is. But it's not the only investment. There's a lot of actually, if you bought stocks in, I think, Ruger Firearms over the last couple of years, you would have done well with with Obama in office, freaking scaring the crap out of everybody. Probably the gun sales went way up, so people, the firearms companies went up, their stocks, their equities went up way up. But there's one thing, and I know because my dad used to manage a liquor store, and he actually, this is back before the days of cell phones and before the days of like, you had a cell phone on, you could call the cops real fast. Well, he used to keep his 38 special in his pocket all the time, man, in case, they come in here, because, nobody had charge cards back then. He had his 38 special. So, like, you'd be buying booze at 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, and, somebody come in and try to rob the place, he'd have to protect the booze. But I can tell you one thing. Whether the times are good, people drink a lot. When the times are good, people celebrate and drink. If times are bad, people drink more because times are bad. That is one industry I don't think is ever going to go down. And it's medicinal purposes to it too. There's a whole pile of freaking medicinal purposes for vodka, for instance. So maybe you don't want to just invest in silver all the time. Invest in some alcoholic beverages. That might not be a bad idea as an alternative investment right now too. Just make sure you don't drink up everything. And as my dad says, I made sure I don't drink up the profits. And as we're moving on, there's light at the end of this road. It's like if there's a down, I hate hearing these guys on the internet talking about the big crash is going to be coming in the end of the world and blah blah blah. They don't believe what the hell they say. There's always cycles in markets. There's been cycles in markets in the United States in the 1800s. Actually, if you look at Civil War history, remember when they had the war between the states? Boy, it was like economic devastation after that. And we got by. I mean, whatever the hell, whatever happens, right now, the stuff these guys, these doom and gloomers, there's nothing really going on in the United States compared to what has happened before, and we survived. And we sure as hell got more tools to freaking fix stuff than we ever had with the internet. We still got freedom of speech. That's the way I look at it. But you got to be practical. You can't be like, sticking your nose in your iPhone all day saying, text this person, text that person, take some selfies, post them on Tumblr and Twitter and shit, Freaking women do that shit. I mean, I'm like, if you're doing that kind of shit, you're wasting your time, man, all day. But we do have a lot of access to more information than we ever had about survival, how to store food, how to, have, what kind of good guns you should have for freaking harvesting food. In case you don't want to grow it, you can always nab a critter in the woods, right, and make a meal. And, or go fishing with hand grenades or whatever. I don't know. That'd be the fast. Super M80s and bread. Oh, God, I remember that days. Those are the days. But anyway, they make it look like, the people in the alternative media, they make it look like, we're in bondage. The elite got us. The elite ain't got shit. The elite, I can tell you right now, even the people that aren't the elite, the professionals, I mean, they're like such cuckold dorks. I mean, they own their wives own them. They go home, they lick the bottom of their shoes, they give them all their money. And they go, yes, dear, I don't know how to wash dishes. And they go beg them and all this kind of shit. And, the thing is, just do your own thing, man. Don't worry about this shit too much. But do be worried about it enough that you take some action once in a while. And you don't necessarily have to always buy silver. Because I haven't actually bought silver in a while. Because I figured I got enough of this shit. I ain't going to keep buying this shit forever. I'm not like a one-track mind. And that's why you can see in my videos, I don't actually talk always strictly about silver. But I do realize that eventually, even if gold only went up to $2,000 an ounce, and it was already, what was it, 1938? Was it when it hit the top? When if it goes up to, say, silver goes up to like $2,000 an ounce, and even if the ratio to gold to silver is 25 to 1, that's still going to put it around 80. It's still going to make silver at $80. I mean, say it even doesn't hit that. Say it hits 60 to 75. Well, you're going to make a lot of money on this shit. I mean, it's not like you're going to get filthy rich, but you're going to make money on it. You're going to make money on it. I don't think they're going to be able to kickstart the economy. I look at it like so, and I don't care. I don't care. It's a joke, too, what they even judge the economy on, like pharmaceuticals, family Daycare centers. I mean, crap. You know what? It costs more money. You know, this is another thing. You know, they judge the economy like they look at the numbers, right? You know, you got a daycare center out there for like 4-year-old kids. You know, it costs more money now. It's now on average, it's starting to cost more money to send a kid to daycare than it is for like a fully grown, you know, adult, like, you know, late teenager, 18 to 22, to go to college. It's actually costing more money to go to these freaking daycare centers. Now, say for instance, you spent the money on the daycare. Well, and the daycare reports it as part of their revenue, and the government sees, oh, the GDP is going up. And I'm like, the GDP is going up. Say there was no reporting of anything. Say the woman was like watching the kid, right? Had watching her own kids, and they say, oh, the economy's so bad. Well, that's because, you know, the woman's doing all this other stuff that's not on, you know, showing up as an income on, you know, a daycare center. Or say, for instance, you have, you know, these pastors or these people going around, ministers and stuff, and they're helping people out, and you get rid of all the freaking family counselors making $300,000 a year in a psychotrope in a psychologist with the psychotropic drugs to dish out, and they're making $300,000 a year, and they're making all this money off of, you know, pharmaceuticals. So I mean, I'm looking at it like, you know, the numbers don't, you know, if somebody told you like, say all those industries collapse, like there's no daycare centers, they went out of business, and all the family counselors went out of business, all the psychologists went out of business, and you had, you know, mothers that did the old traditional role, like they, you know, which is to me God's work, and you had, you know, people that were like real true ministers and stuff. Hey, you know what? It'd be like the GDP with zero, right? Because, oh, it's charitable work and the mothers aren't getting paid. But you know what? Everything's actually working out better, right? Right? So don't like always look at those stupid numbers all the time, because the numbers don't really tell you exactly what's going on. Reality is reality. And I can tell you one thing: the games that the people play on the top. You know, another thing is too, when they get caught, it's like this. They point the finger at each other. That's like this on the arms over here. Oh, you did it. No, oh, you did it. No, you did it. Yeah, they point the finger at each other. But I'm going to tell you one thing: the games that people play on the top, they have an eye for practicality. Um, I know, like, they use the numbers to like hide things. You know, cute words to hide things. You know, way you show stuff to hide things. But the reality situation is they're always looking for a deal. They understand, like, you know, if I can get a pile of used lumber and it's just as good as brand new lumber or something like that to build a project, well, they'll do that, or use bricks or whatever it is. They'll do that, and they'll market it as, oh, it's got the antique look. You know what I mean? I'm just giving a dumb example, but they're always looking out for real goods. Real goods. As a matter of fact, I can tell you, I think a lot of where the commodities are being deliberately knocked down is that the Wall Street elite are buying up all the oil rigs out there that are going under, and buying up those capital assets for pennies on a dollar. And when oil goes back up again, well, they're going to be in the driver's seat. As a matter of fact, I think oil might actually go to $200 a barrel very briefly, very briefly. And, you know, we're being prepared for, you know, I could already tell you, you know what they're playing games with. There's a war on rural America. You know, so with transportation, right? Say oil went up that high, you'd be thinking you're not driving anywhere. And the major media is telling us America wants better public transportation. So we don't need a car, right? We can just jump on the public transportation. And I'm like, get the hell out of here, man. You know what? I'll take a motorcycle, and I'll take a Jeep, and I'll take a convertible. So anyway, but anyway, you know, I look at it like this. They always try to brainwash you with, you know, trends and fads and all this garbage. Don't listen to it. Don't listen to it. I mean, I know some things are always into play, like hot blondes that drink a lot, but you know, it's like, do not get into. Well, you know what? That's another thing. I think some things can't be improved upon no matter what they do. But you know, it's like people do not. You know, if people freaking do not get influenced by what the major media is always telling them what's cool and what's this and what's that, that's the thing. Don't look at the major media. That's really what it is. As a matter of fact, I could tell you I like a lot more Hollywood entertainment from bygone years than I do today. It's all freaking shit today, including the music, man. I don't even like any of the stuff that's out today. It's garbage. It's garbage, garbage, garbage. I don't even like the bikes they got today. You know, I like the old classics. I don't like the cars they got today. I don't like the music they got today. I don't like the movies they got today. I mean, you know, with the old school shit. That's what it is all the way. And you know, I guess that type of stuff is okay because there's a rhyme and a reason behind the old school stuff. Today there's, you know, wacky shit. That's the way I look at it. And you know, it's not a matter of changing with the generations. Oh no, 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 no. It's being homogenized and corralled and being categorized and all this other shit. That's what they're playing a game today. But you know, you being a silver investor, it doesn't mean you got to be buying silver every month or anything like that, throwing all your money into silver. But you know, also like I said, beans, bacon, bullets, and all that kind of stuff, food, firepower, and fuel. You got to remember that, you know, stay with the real. Stay with the real. I mean, the cook-hole dorks. I mean, they go to professionals. They could be, you know, attorneys, CPAs, freaking doctors, you know, psychiatrists, whatever the hell it is. You know, there's another wackos, and people like that, and they go to work and they live in their own little dream world. But the reality of the situation is, they can barely tie their shoes. That's about what it is. They don't know how to do anything. If an emergency came up, they'd be like, oh, well, I don't know. Does my charge card work? Can I call somebody on a cell phone? Yeah, right. Anyway, I look at it like this. You know, anyway, if the Gonzo Inn, if the White House turns into the Gonzo Inn and it turns into Hill the Beast in there with their crazy girlfriend, Uma Aberdeen, and Bill Clinton saying, I want to watch, you know, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to worry about it. Actually, I'm just going to hoist the Confederate flag, and I'm going to say, the hell with this, you know. I'm not going to listen to anything that comes out of Washington, D.C. I'm going to rebel. That's all there is to it. But, you know, I think what's coming up in the future, it's not going to be the repeat of the past of the 2008 with the Troubled Asset Relief Program and the Economic Stabilization Act. It's going to be bail-ins, sort of like Cyprus. Remember when the Russian oligarchs were all running to Cyprus on planes? I knew what was going on over there, man. They got their money out. You know, the banks were saying, oh, you can't take more than $100,000 out of the account. Yeah, they got their money out. I think they were coming down there with, I don't know what they were coming down there with, the Russian special forces, too, to make sure they got their money out. I knew what was going on back then. But, you know, that's the thing. You don't want to have your money in these institutions because even if the guy you're dealing with is honest, you know, directly, the one that's above him, they're not going to be honest. Because even if they are honest, there's going to be circumstances beyond their control. They got nothing, they can't do nothing about it. And I think this next time, it's not going to be a bailout. It's going to be a bail-in. Bail-in means, it's a cute word for um, the screw-ups of the financial institutions and the banks and all their things they did were their crappy decisions they made will fall on the people that have their money wrapped up in them. The government's not going to bail them out. Because actually, I don't even know how the freaking Federal Reserve is going to unwind its balance sheet. I know a lot of that stuff got repaid back, but not all of it. The Federal Reserve has still got a huge balance sheet of garbage assets on there that they bought up to prop things up over the years. And I don't know. It's just going to go. I don't know how the hell they're ever going to unwind it. They're not. They're not. They're not. And looking at what's going across the world, everything's screwed up. But you know why that is? Because they're keeping all the money in the too bigs to fail all the time. That's why the markets are too high. I actually talked about this many times before, but I'll have to say it one more time. There's been inflation in asset prices, premium asset prices, not consumer price inflation, but premium asset prices. Premium assets are the equities, for instance. It could be artwork. It could be prime real estate in, you know, best commercial areas and things like that. But you know, a good indication that things are looking bad is, well, the prostitute. You know, besides the train traffic being down and the Baltic dry index being way down with the cargo ships, the prostitution index is way down, and also the gambling index is way down. Besides, not just in Las Vegas, but also in overseas in Macau It's way the hell down. They're having problems, which tells you there's a lot of people don't have excess money to freaking spend. But of course, Mr. Obama, I don't know what's gonna happen with this guy. Anyway, they ought to just stick a bunch of golf balls up his ass and freaking send him up to the moon. That's what I think. You know, send him on a one-way trip to the moon. He could be. We could have another freaking. We know the first president on the moon. When your air runs out, well, you were at the moon. Just say hi to us up to the time you can breathe. So anyway, that's what I think we ought to do with that guy, because he's guilty of all this bad shit. I can tell you right now, he is. He's a bad president, and I hope we don't have. We hope we don't have the big H coming after us. Hell the beast. Hell the beast. Because I'm gonna refer to the White House from now on as the Gonzo Inn if she ever gets in, because we're gonna just have videos on the Gonzo Inn, the Gonzo Inn, and we're gonna speculate, whatever the hell you say that word. We're gonna speculate on what's going on behind the scenes with Billy, and Uma and Hillary. That'll be the new trilateral commission in the White House, the triumvirate. God, Bill will be going, I want to watch, and Hillary freaking throws ashtrays at him. That's what used to happen anyway. The Gonzo Inn, right there in the middle of D.C. So, Hill the Beast. I don't know. She might win. I'm going to tell you. I'll just leave you with this thought again. I'm going to show you a link of something I saw where they were able to cheat with voting. Even, I don't know how they do it. It's very sophisticated software. Brand new video, which is put out in April 2016. It's with the current voting machines. And being that, Warren Buffett said she'd be the next president, and being that, I think it was the CEO, I forgot the guy's CEO or whatever he is, of Google said she'd be the next president. I'm thinking, well, whatever, call it Gonzo instead of Google. Gonzo search, right? Whatever. Anyway, just be practical, stay cool, and don't worry about the bullshit. And if you're really, really worried, there's always booze. There's always Jack Daniels. There's always Johnny Walker Red, right? There you go.